Hey Toku Faithful, time for another edition of Ask the Writer. Well, sort of. I'm kind of doing a new thing here. Well, everybody on YouTube's probably already done this, but it's new to me, so I'm going to give it a shot. Anyway, Toku Twitter recently did a thing that was going around where you could ask anyone's opinion on anything Kamen Rider Super Sentai related. Now, I've done these before, but most of the time you just sit there and respond to whoever tweets at you asking a question. This time I'm going to do it in video form, which will save me the trouble of sitting around on my tablet or phone all day doing this individually. Here you get it all in one go. So, by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter yet at The Easy Rider, please do so. I'm pretty vocal on there about Toku and other things. I also live tweet some stuff, but I won't get into that right now. Anyway, let's get to the tweets. Why does Toei seem resistant on streaming their newer Sentai and Rider series in the West compared to Subaraya and their Ultraman series? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I don't know. I don't work for Toei. I wish I did, but I don't. But the only reason I can think of is they're still testing the waters with the DVD and Blu-ray box sets. I mean, there's a niche market for it here, sort of a cult following, but again, it's not really as powerful as certain anime series. I wish to God there was a legal release of the newer shows on something like Crunchyroll. I mean, I honestly wish there was, but I don't know. I wish there was. Maybe someday there will be, but not today. Tell me a Rider/Sentai season that you want to like, but there's one little thing about it that holds it back for you. A Rider season I want to like, but something's holding it back. A lot of this has to do with halves of shows. Like, Hibiki's second half is really faulty. A character like Kiria ruins it for me. Ino's writing kind of runs it into the ground. And they were... I mentioned this in my review. They were writing stuff on the fly, and at the very last minute, kind of ruined the show. Something like that. Hibiki or Ghost. Ghost is a second half that really, I think, torpedoed the show. I mean, Adele is a terrible villain in Ghost. I don't like him. Denkuji Takaru is annoying and boring as hell. So, those would be my Rider answers. Sentai is easy. Ghost Sager. I want to like Ghost Sager, but the villains are terrible. The main team are all, incredibly boring. I mean, the only interesting character in the show is the kid. His name escapes me at the moment. I'm blanking. But Ghost Sager has potential to be a good show, but there's just things holding it back. I could be here all day, but Ghost Sager and Hibiki/Ghost would be my answer. Yeah, Ghost Sager could have been better if they made Hyde, aka Gosei Blue, the main focus, since he's the only character of his tribe on the team. That makes him a more interesting character than Alita, who's just dull. But yeah, those would be my choices for that answer. Henshin cell phones. My opinion on Henshin cell phones? They can be hit and miss. Some are really cool, like Maji Rangers. Some are just kind of generic. I don't know. Again, they're hit and miss. The Bokenger ones are kind of meh for me. I mean, they're okay, but just rolling them on the arm, I don't know, a little tedious. There's a few others. Go-Ongers I didn't like that much. I mean, don't get me wrong, they looked cool. Shinkenger Shido phones were really cool. I like what's his name from Tokyugers? Akira, his Apply Changer, that smartphone one where he scans the train. That one's pretty cool. I've got that one laying around somewhere. So yeah, Henshin cell phones are hit and miss. Best way I can answer that. Adopting rest of Super Sentai / All Kamen Rider apart from existing adaptations like Power Rangers or Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, is it a good or bad thing? I believe I already answered this in a past Ask the Writer video when someone asked me about how I would adapt Kamen Rider stateside. We don't need to. We don't need to anymore. We have actual Kamen Rider series over here, legal on Blu-ray and streaming. We don't need to adapt it anymore. It's just a waste of time and money. I'm sorry. It doesn't need to be a thing. As for Power Rangers and Super Sentai, that's up to Hasbro. I mean, they can still adapt. I believe with Cosmic Fury, they're adapting the mechas not the Q Ranger suits, which pissed off a lot of people. But I'd like to see what kind of things they can do with it originally without having to be hampered by the Sentai, or the Sentai holding it back. You know, they're allowed to tell their own story without having to adhere to the Sentai, which is always an interesting thing. I mean, look at RPM. It was nothing like its Sentai counterpart, and it really showed. Of course, there are some times where a Power Ranger series can follow its Sentai to a T and come out really good, like Time Force. Time Force is a straight-up adaptation of Time Ranger, more or less. And I think in some ways Time Force is better than Time Ranger. Sometimes they can follow the Sentai to the letter and actually have it be better. But again, adaptations of Kamen Rider, they don't need to be a thing. Yeah, it's just a waste of time. Sentai, that's up in the air right now. Which Kamen Rider / Super Sentai season do you think deserves more love? Going back to a Kamen Rider series that were that I wanted to like, but actually no, I take that back. Hibiki is a decent Rider season. Again, the first half, very good, real good. It's the second half where things just fall apart. I mentioned this earlier. Hibiki needs to get more love. Hibiki's kind of like the black sheep of Kamen Riders, and it doesn't really need to be. Everybody sees it as totally different. The whole Oni thing, the instruments. It's a good series for the most part. What I like to do, and I brought this up in the past, is don't think of the second half as the end of the show. Forget that. Stop at like episode 30 and don't watch any further. Watch the Hibiki movie, The Seven War Oni, which I reviewed a long time ago. That should be the true conclusion to the series. Something like that. Yeah, that'd be my pick. Hibiki, I think, gets shunned a lot just because of how different it was. For Super Sentai, which season do I think deserves more love? Go Busters. I mean, I'm still pissed off we didn't get a 10 years after Go Busters movie. I think it still is in Gokaiger's shadow. I mean, Gokaiger gets all this love and praise, even though I think it's still a tad overrated. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying Gokaiger gets a lot of love. It's kind of overblown, if you ask me, but I still like it. But I just think Go Busters had a tough act to follow, and Go Busters kind of gets pushed aside. I mean, hell, look at their crossover with Kyoryuger. Go Busters were completely pushed to the side. Everything was about the Dino Sentai, and that really pissed me off, because Go Busters is probably one of my favorite Sentai shows ever. And it led to one of the greatest Power Ranger seasons we've seen in a long time. Beast Morphers. Loved it. Great adaptation. So yeah, Go Busters, I think, doesn't get enough love. Top 5 worst Super Sentai seasons. Okay, I'm going to have to call an audible on that one. I don't think there's a worst Super Sentai season. There are ones that I wouldn't want to watch again, that I don't like, but I don't think there is such a thing as a bad Sentai season. For review-wise, yeah, I might tear into it, but I'm logical at the end. I give my pros and cons as to why I don't like it. But again, that's all personal preference. So there aren't really 5 seasons that are bad, like, oh God, claw my eyes out bad. There are just some that I didn't care for. I think Ninja is the best example. Didn't care for it, didn't like it. A lot of reasons. Maybe I'll go into that someday if that ever gets a legal release, but I can't pick 5 seasons. There aren't 5 seasons of Sentai that I think are terrible or unwatchable. So, abstaining from that question. Thoughts on Wizard? Kamen Rider Wizard? Good show. I didn't think the ring thing would work, but it does. Took me forever to find some ring sizes that would fit me, those extenders, but I got a few. My buddy Mike Shell, who some of you might know as Dr. Precisely on Toku Time, he's a huge Wizard fan. He loves Beast. He's got all the Beast rings. He's got the Hyper Magnum. I think that's what it's called. His upgraded form. It was good. I like White Wizard's design, or Wise Man, I should say. The dad of Koyomi. I really like his design. I think I like that belt better than the Wizard driver. What else? Mayu. Mage, she really stands out. She was one of the few female riders who didn't get killed off. She made it. She kind of broke the curse, so to speak. Well, no, scratch that. There is no Kamen Rider curse. Let's not even get into that. But yeah, Mayu was a great thing about Wizard. I really liked her. And the villains are good too. Gremlin is definitely like the Joker of Kamen Rider villains. I really wish they'd bring him back for some more stuff, because he definitely had that psychopath, anarchist vibe to him. And if you know his backstory, it's even more compelling. So, yeah, Wizard's alright. What is the best insert song from Kamen Rider and Super Sentai? Again, I'm going to have to abstain from that because there's too many to pick. But there are some kick-ass ones. Short answer, I guess, is anything from Psychic Lover on the Sentai side. On Kamen Rider, again, too many to pick. But Super Sentai, anything by Psychic Lover is a win in my book. But yeah. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Sentai King Oger? Loving the design. I love the suit designs. The swords look amazing. I hope they make a 2-scale version of that sword because it just looks badass. I haven't seen the episode of Dawn Brothers they're in, and I kind of really wish they weren't in it because I miss when they used to show up in crossover movies with the past teams. I wish they'd stop sticking them in the middle of the series. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine recently. But I really like the outfits. I like the bug motif. The mecha looks amazing. Yeah, and plus, I love a Sentai team with capes. People say, no capes. I say, screw you, capes are awesome. So yeah, I'm looking forward to King Oger. Your thoughts on Superhero Taisen? Oh, I get this one a lot. If I could sum up Superhero Taisen in one word, it would be underwhelming. Because a lot of times I saw the plot twist coming a mile away. I knew these guys weren't really killing each other. As soon as I saw that crappy purple stuff effect, I knew it's like, okay, they're all in on this. They're faking it. They're faking this war. Decade and Marvelous aren't really fighting each other. It's all a ruse, blah, blah, blah. And that BS ending where Dien turns evil for no real reason and puts that mecha together, oh, God, so stupid. And Dien is probably one of my favorite secondary writers, so that really pissed me off. So, Superhero Taisen could have been great if they had just had a better plot, one that wasn't so blatantly obvious, and a better villain at the end by just having Dien throw a hissy fit about Tsukasa. Don't even get me started about Decade. I hate Decade. It could have been a lot better. It should have been a lot better, but it just wasn't. Some of the others were, but Taisen, I won't be watching that again anytime soon. Thoughts on Kamen Rider Geats so far? I've actually not started watching the new show yet. I know I'm about 20-something episodes behind, but I have a reason as to why I haven't watched the new show yet. And if you follow us on Toku Riffs, soon you'll figure out why. But I've not started watching the new show yet. I have my reasons. So yeah. The great Sentai of all time, Dawn Brothers? Let's not go that far. But my opinion on Dawn Brothers it's a pleasant surprise. Like most people, when I saw the outfits, I didn't know what to think. I mean, my first instinct was to laugh, because I had no idea how this would work, but the storytelling, the characters, all really good. I mean, they've done some things in there that I didn't expect. Especially the villains. Well, I wouldn't call them villains per se, they're just doing their own thing. The Noto, Sonoi's gang, they're the real stars of the show for me. Honestly, the Sentai team is kind of a secondary. I'm all about Sonoi's gang. I'm always interested to see what they're up to next. They steal the show. So yeah, Dawn Brothers, a pleasant surprise. I wouldn't call it the great Sentai though. What is your least favorite Super Sentai suits? Probably, and this is going back a bit of a way, probably Dynaman. I'm not saying Dynaman is a bad suit, but I just feel like, or I wish they would have stuck with the baseball theme they were going to do with it, because honestly, I've seen pictures of what the baseball suits were supposed to look like, and I kind of wanted to see those in action, but the way they look now, you could tell that they kind of at the last minute just like patted over the whole baseball thing, and you could tell the helmets are still supposed to be baseball helmet shapes. That's just something that I wouldn't say they're bad. It's just what could have been. I would have liked to have seen, the baseball sides or the baseball Dynaman. That'd be my pick. Why US didn't pick up Kamen Rider Black, but instead straight to RX? I'm assuming you mean why Black RX was picked and not Black for the Masked Rider adaptation. I'm sorry if you meant something else, but my guess is for Masked Rider, it just had more marketability. More forms, it had weapons, swords, guns, and the villain faction was more akin to what you'd think of Power Rangers-wise. Lord Dragon, General Jark, whatever you want to call him, was more in line with something like Rita or Zed. Evil space aliens coming to Earth, and, they were just more marketable villains. And I think that's what it came down to. I just think Kamen Rider Black just wouldn't have had that appeal. I mean, maybe it would have. I don't know. Maybe if Saban wasn't adapting it and somebody else was. I don't know. We'll never know now. But I just think Black RX just had that more appeal. It had a freaking lightsaber, for crying out loud, and a car, and a motorcycle. Well, Black had 2 motorcycles, but come on. How are you going to beat a freaking car compared to a motorcycle? So yeah, I think they just picked that one because it would sell more toys. Or they could make more toys out of them, would be my guess. So I hope that answers your question. Well, there you go. I gave you my opinions as best I could. I hope I answered your questions for anyone who responded. Let me know in the comments if I should do this more often. Maybe I'll do this with the Ask the Writer thing. Maybe I'll make this a once-in-a-while thing. Maybe I'll do one about Ultraman or Power Rangers or Metal Hero in the future. Let me know in the comments if you want to see some more stuff like this. And get in on the Twitter fun. Again, follow me at The Easy Rider. And don't be afraid to talk to me. I'll respond eventually. So, yeah. I'm Easy Rider, reminding you that the fan sub will never die. Later. Thanks for watching.